Hey, my name is Amaury DÍAZ, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about this book called The Kite Runner. The Kite Runner is a book that was published in 2003 by the Afghan-American writer Khaled Hosseini. The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini has faced significant controversies and bans in various regions due to its sensitive content and themes that it explores. The primary reasons for its challenges and bans include its sensitive content, cultural and religious representation, political connotations, language, and the handling of controversial topics. The first question that comes to my mind when I was doing this research, I was looking for a lot of web pages and newspapers and magazines and stuff, and the first question that now comes to my mind is, what is at stake if this book is banned or censored? The principal idea, the main argument about like what is at stake if this book gets censored is that as an international viewers about what's going on in Afghanistan, we can have like a ground vision about what is it living in there. Like the one of the principal groups or of people that are trying to ban this book are the government people, like government groups, like religion groups, like educational groups and stuff. So why? Because they don't want us as an international viewers to see it as a violent society, as a violent country and stuff. Like the book has a lot of topics as violence, sexual violence, homophobia, and also betrayals and stuff. And I think like why they want to like hide it, if we as an international viewers, we don't want it like to see Afghanistan as a perfect country, because this utopia, it's a lie. Like we're not expecting to see it as a perfect society and stuff. So we know that there's homophobia as in the US, as here in Ecuador. There's violence as in the US, as in Ecuador. There's sexual violence as everywhere in the world. There's betrayals as everywhere in every place of the world. So I think that the main thing that is at stake if this book gets banned or censored, it's like the ground vision about what living in Afghanistan really is. Like we don't think like Afghanistan is this utopia that the government wants to sell us and to see it as a perfect country, and they want to point with their finger to other countries like they're worse than us, like pretending that telling us that in their country there's no problem, this everything's okay and stuff. But we also have to consider that this book was written in the 2000 and 2003 year. So there was the 9/11 terrorist attack, and they didn't want like people have this connection about Muslim religion and terrorist attacks, like saying like, yeah, there are terrorists because they have a violent society and stuff. So they didn't want the people have that vision about like everything is wrong and like they're the worst because everything is the worst in their country. Now I think this book has to be protected by the First Amendment in the US. I think yes. Why? Because it has an important academic value. The people outside this country, even in United States, there's a lot of religions, there's a lot of people, because there's a country that is built by immigrants. So in the United States, you can see a Catholic guy, a Muslim guy, and a guy from Afghanistan, a South American guy, a Chinese man in the same class. So if they banned this book in the US public education, they are sending the message that if there's different than them, let's silence them, let's censorship them, let's let them outside our bubble, you know. So what the standards also should they apply to this book to consider as obscene or legally offensive? I was reading a lot of web pages, and there was a page that was called the Banned Books Week, and according to them, the book was notably challenged in several places for its explicit content and violent themes. So I think if we see like some violent and explicit sexual content, we're not like seeing it as a whole. Like if we see it as a whole, there's no like violence every time, everywhere, with every people. There's no sexual explicit sexual themes with everywhere, everyone and stuff. So I consider that if they wanted to see it like legally offensive, it should be taken as a whole. If it's as a whole, if it's considered obscenity, we can talk about like censorship. But it's not like they're telling us about a betrayed between two friends that happens everywhere. So it's just in another place than us, the same things that we can live or we are living in our day-to-day. Also, due to the American Library Association reported that The Kite Runner was the foremost challenged book in 2017, primarily due to its sexually explicit scenes, offensive language, perceived promotion of religious intolerance, and its potential to inspire terrorism. As I was saying, this book was written in the 2000s years, so we that like every like the world has that vision about like, oh, Muslims did the 9/11 terrorist attack, so they didn't want to get that connection between terrorists and being Muslim. So that's why people wanted to ban it and not to inspire people to terrorism. Like people outside Afghanistan see it as that didn't represent them, so they didn't want it also that all other people see them and connect them with terrorist attacks and stuff. Also, does the book damage potential readers? I think no, because this book was directed to teenagers, and I think like when there's teenagers, they should learn about everything around them, also not everything that's really close to them. They should learn about everything that's going on around the world, and then choose what is good for them and what is bad for them also, because we cannot like take teenagers and keep them in a bubble that nothing can damage them. So I think their consciousness and reasoning are developing, so they should learn and read about everything everywhere, so they can choose and they can discern what is good for them and what is not. So I don't think this book can damage potential readers. Who should be the responsible to tell us these restrictions to the book? When I was doing my research, I discovered that the main groups that wanted to ban or censor this book were government and religious groups. Why? Because as I was explaining it, the Muslim religion in Afghanistan, in these countries around it, is very deep, like is really rooted in their society. The religion is still saying how they should live, what they should learn, what they should study, what they should be telling in classes. So these groups wanted to ban this book because they didn't want it to people to connect these terrorist attacks and these terrorist actions to the Muslim religion. Also, the government didn't want it to the people outside this part of the world, the international vision, to see the Afghan people as a terrorist, as a violent people. They also have like really good cultures. They also have the really good ways to live and stuff. So they didn't they wanted like the people outside see the good stuff about them and not like keep feeding this idea about like violent people, homophobic people, sexually explicit people and stuff. So these were the two main groups that wanted to ban this book. And also in the US they wanted to ban it because as I said, this country is built by immigrants. So they didn't want to like to provoke, or it was a campaign as a prevention of bullying or stuff to the Muslim students and to the Muslim communities living in the US. Um, Also, this book has some passages where they talk about like betrayed and about explicit sexual activities. Um, but we cannot like take those passages and judge it as a whole about the book. So I don't think this book should be banned. This book has been banned in Afghanistan. It was tried to be banned in 2017 in the USA, but it wasn't. It's banned just in Afghanistan, and I think it shouldn't. I think we shouldn't ban these kind of books that are trying to tell us about real stories, about real life in other countries, in other regions outside the bubble we live in. So I think not just teenagers, like adults and everyone should learn a little bit about everything that is going on around the world we live in. So this is it. Thank you.